All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin in the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. So it looks like we had a little bit of a pumpage over the weekend. Bitcoin is still in its range. Not a lot has happened overall, but we are seeing a little bit of a drop today on Bitcoin after some weekend pumpage. And the altcoins are correcting a little bit here. But what does this mean? Are we going to see a bigger pullback coming in over the next couple of weeks here before continuing up to new highs? Or are we done with the bull market temporarily for a few months, and are we going to see a much bigger crash to the downside? So I want to talk about this just a little bit here, but Bitcoin is still just ranging within its range. And you can see here what happened over the weekend is we really just took those range lows on Friday. We looked at those range lows and we took the range lows, and then we pumped up to the value area high of our range. Took our local highs from Thursday and rejected from the value area high. Throughout the day, we have continued to drop. We dropped down to our point of control and to our daily level. You can see we do have a new weekly level that is just below us that hasn't been hit yet at around 117.3K. And I do think that we could still continue dropping on Bitcoin a little bit further. And I'll discuss some of these levels that I'm interested in looking at the potential scalp long opportunities on Bitcoin. And then we can go into the altcoins a little bit as well. But so I'm going to go ahead and delete this daily because we're bouncing from it right now. This was a daily that was fresh before today, so it's not anymore. We'll go ahead and get that off the chart. Our weekly is still naked and fresh, has not been hit yet. But more importantly, if we pull a golden pocket, let's just do this fresh. We'll pull a golden pocket from the Friday lows to our weekend highs, our Sunday highs. Let me get that right on there. You can see that our golden pocket, our 618 of the golden pocket, is coming in directly on top of our value area low of the range. And we do know with volume profile trading, if we reject from the value area high of the range and we lose the POC, we know we have a high likelihood to travel down to the value area low. On the reverse hand, if we reclaim the value area low and we break above the POC, we have a high chance of coming up to the value area high. So we are just rotating the volume profile, and we've really rotated this volume profile many, many times, like almost getting to the point where it's getting comical how much we are rotating this volume profile. But once again, trade the range until it breaks, and we are rejecting from the value area high. We're hovering right around the point of control, but I do think that value area low looks really enticing for me because our macro golden pocket is coming in. Our higher low golden pocket support is coming in right on top of that value area low. But also, if we look at our range that we've been in now for about 3 weeks here, 3.5 weeks or so, and we exclude the all-time high, just exclude this little last parabolic push up here, and we look at this trend that has been forming here, these lower highs in the making, and then also the low of our range to our new low of our range. This looks like a very nice descending channel that is forming. So if we just go ahead and turn on that channel, and actually, let's do this. Let's just pull a brand new channel here. We'll just go from our highs, our second lower high down. We'll just connect the highs, the lower highs, and we'll bring it down to our initial low of the range. And you can see here that this range, this channel, if I can pull it right, is being very, very nicely respected here. There we go. And you can see, where does the midline of our channel align? We're rejecting from the top of the channel. You can see we connected the channel from these two lower highs here. We rejected a third time trying to break out of the channel. It was also the value area high yesterday, rejected from the top of our descending channel corrective trend. And if we reject from the top of the channel, oftentimes we will see a rotation down to that midline, and that midline will either give us a bounce followed by a lower high where we then break to the bottom of the channel, or we will bounce from the midline and break out of the channel and see that true break to new highs in this case. So I do like the midline of this channel because it is more confluence for our golden pocket support that's coming in right around 116.5K. You can see 116.7 to 116.5K is our local support area that I'm really interested in here. It is now our strongest level of support to the downside locally. Earlier today, we did have that daily level, And if we go ahead and come in here and we turn on our naked weekly POCs, now it's no longer naked because we hit it earlier today, but if we turn on our weekly POCs, you will see that we are bouncing from that daily level and from that naked point of control, naked daily weekly point of control, or I think actually it was a naked daily point of control. Let's turn on the naked daily point of control. Yeah, naked daily point of control down here, right on top of that daily, pretty much at 117.6. So that's where we're seeing our small bounce right now, bouncing from that area and trying to reclaim our POC. We're struggling here. We're struggling here, and our money flow, if we just look at our money flow here on Market Cipher B and on NAMI, it is not looking too good here. We're not really seeing any bull divs right now, any like decent bull divs, I would say. On lower time frames, we were seeing some at the bottom, but nothing to really give you that good of a signal to look for a long from this area that the correction is over yet. The day's drop is over yet. So I do think Bitcoin will continue to kind of grind down here. If we zoom out onto the 4-hour chart, you can see that our 4-hour momentum wave has topped out and it's just coming to the downside. Now, money flow doesn't look the worst, but overall, since our all-time high, really our lower high, the start of this descending channel, our money flow has been draining out of the asset here. And we did print a hidden bear div yesterday on NAMI as well. So I do think that this corrective channel could continue here, at least to rotate down to the midline before breaking up and taking out that daily level at 120K or even coming up to take out the all-time highs. Overall, I do think Bitcoin is looking still more corrective since our all-time high that was created on the 14th or on the 13th. I do think that Bitcoin is still more likely to break up to make new all-time highs, but we might see this correction continue, this sideways and down correction continue for a little bit longer. And honestly, if we lose 116.5K, this golden pocket area, this golden pocket value area low, I expect new lows to be made at least to the bottom of the channel that's coming in around, 113.8 to about 113.5, depending on time wise. And then if we lose that, we can look at bigger drops to the downside. But overall, Bitcoin is still ranging, kind of being boring here and giving us an opportunity to trade the altcoins. So if we do now look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, and on Friday, we looked at this Bitcoin dominance chart, and this is what we drew out on Friday. We were really looking for this lows of the channel to hold if Bitcoin was going to see a little bit of a bounce against the altcoins. So let's go ahead and zoom out a bit here. And Bitcoin dominance is hovering right around the bottom of our big 2.5-year long descending channel. We are seeing a little bit of wickage underneath it here, but Bitcoin dominance is trying to hold this local level of support. Now, if once again, these 62% key levels, our key lows, our prior lows, really do need to be broken and reclaimed to the upside if we really want to see Bitcoin dominance start to really recover again and make its way pushing up towards that channel midline where our golden pocket is as well. But until we do that, we could see what we often see at the bottom of these channels is we will chop around forming a range down here, and we will either fail in finding support above our prior lows, and we will dump out of the channel, which would mean that altcoins are running against Bitcoin, and we'd see a little bit of an altcoin season, or we're going to see that range hold and us flip that prior low back to support and make our way up to a bigger, either a lower high or up to new highs. So I do think that the altcoins overall are still looking good. There's still many trade opportunities on altcoins. I am still more biased towards long opportunities on altcoins, but we talked about this on Thursday stream and on Friday stream. A lot of the altcoins were hitting into some very key resistances, and we were looking for bigger retraces to the downside and how those corrective retraces down were not quite done yet as far as time goes. And so if we look, let's go ahead now and go into some of the altcoins. Before I go into the altcoins, I want to just cover the partners of the channel real quick. We do have BYDFI. They are a VPN free exchange and a KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. Right now, they're offering a really good bonus. If you just deposit just $100, you can get a $50 deposit bonus for free, 50% deposit bonus. And then depending on how much you deposit, you can get various 10 to 20% deposit bonuses on your account. They're also offering a minimum of 17% discount on trading fees, but the more you deposit, the higher of a tier of discounts you can get on your trading fees there. So if you're interested in signing up, you can sign up for BYDFI. The affiliate link is in the description. And if you do sign up and deposit $100, I have partnered with BYDFI to create a Telegram group where I do post some of my trade setups in there. And if you're interested in joining that Telegram group, it's free to join. All you need is an affiliate account and to deposit $100 in your account. You guys can sign up for that Telegram group. Once you've signed up and deposited the money, just get into the Telegram. Link is in the description, and you can use /verify and then type in your user ID number, and that'll get you into that Telegram group. Second, we do have NAMI. NAMI is a momentum and money flow, momentum wave and money flow indicator. This is what I use to help with entry and exit confirmations and trades. If you are interested in purchasing NAMI, there is a 50% off discount code that is running right now for my affiliates. And so that discount code and the link is in the description. If you're interested in purchasing NAMI, I would recommend doing it while that discount code is still available. It's a 50% off discount code. Third, we do have MEXC. MEXC is offering a 20% deposit bonus. If you deposit $100, you'll get $20 free deposited into that, and you can earn up to $300 in futures trading bonuses depending on how much you trade in your futures markets. And then lastly, we do have BYDFI. BYDFI is one of the biggest derivatives exchanges in the world, and they're offering up to $30,000 in bonuses depending on the volume you trade and how much you deposit there. So all the links are in the description for those partners of the channel. Now let's get on to some of the altcoins here. We'll start out with Ethereum. Okay, let's see. Okay, guys, so for Ethereum, we have pushed up now to almost that daily level that we've been talking about, that daily resistance that we are looking at, the next level. And I would like to preface this. Overall, my sentiment on Ethereum is still bullish. I am still looking at that push up to 45.35, 45.34, where the top of our pitchfork is and our 1.618 Fibonacci extinction is. Still looking at this as a third wave that will bring us up to that area. And then we could see a bigger multi-week retrace from that area before making one last push, maybe to end our bull market, maybe make new all-time highs on Ethereum. But overall, my sentiment on Ethereum is still bullish. You can see that we are still above the value area high of our multi 4-year long range. And let's just pull this volume profile all the way. And once again, guys, the lows of our range coming in around 34.80 are in confluence with that bullish backtest of the value area high, and it's also going to be the bottom of our pitchfork band. So if we do get a pullback, I would even say it's acceptable in this bigger third wave to even pull back to the bottom of the pitchfork band before continuing that push up to the 1.618. That would still overall create this impulse to the upside. We do have ebbs and flows within the impulse, within the third wave of the impulse. So yes, looking at Ethereum overall to continue up to that level. But if we zoom in and look at the lower time frames here, Ethereum is just ranging within this range, very similar to Bitcoin. We have a small range that we've been in for a couple weeks now since July 17th. And Ethereum is, over the weekend, we did bounce from the value area low of the range on Thursday and Friday. And we tried to break above the range. We did make new highs on Ethereum, but now we are attempting to fall back inside our volume profile. And anytime you attempt to break out of a volume profile, even if it's a small couple week long one like this, you have that failed auction type price action above the breakout of the volume profile. And if you start to fall back in and find reacceptance back inside that volume profile, we can expect a move at least back down to the point of control. And if the point of control doesn't hold, we expect that move down to the value area low. So if we pull a Fibonacci from our lows on Wednesday to our highs that we made over the weekend. Now, remember, guys, these weekend highs are going to be really important because weekend highs often get taken out. But I just want to show you guys this golden pocket that's coming in, this higher low golden pocket that's coming in at about 36.59. This golden pocket is going to be in confluence with the top of our pitchfork band. And if we look at this, let's hide this range for a second and we'll zoom back out onto the daily chart. We are sustaining price action for the most part above this upper band of our pitchfork. You can see on the daily time frame, we came back down. We did see some wickage back within the band, but no daily candle closes back inside of this pitchfork band here, and it is holding, the upper part of the band is holding a support on the daily time frame. So if we do continue to see Bitcoin retrace a little bit lower to that 116.5K area of support, does Ethereum continue to retrace a little bit and backtest the top of the pitchfork again to see if it's going to hold another time? After taking the highs, after taking out our local highs, we might get that retrace to our golden pocket and continue this grindy motion that we often see towards the end, these ascending channel structures where you're seeing a little bit of the buying momentum slow down. And then we could maybe tap into that daily level, get a rejection from that daily, visit the bottom of the pitchfork, and then continue up to that 1.618, creating that overall third wave in our big weekly impulse before continuing to see a larger correction. So that's what I'm looking at. Really for Ethereum, I'm interested in two levels. I'm interested in this golden pocket in confluence with the top of the pitchfork band around 36.59. And then the best long position that I'm looking at, I guess I would say the highest probability long position that I'm looking at is that bullish backtest of the value area high, of our 4-year range value area high, in confluence with the bottom of the pitchfork band, coming in this general area between 34.25 and, let's see, let's get that right on there. Sorry, 34.39 and 34.17. That is the area of support. So two local areas of support here. Now, as we're coming down to these areas, I'm not going to blindly long these areas. I'm going to look for bullish confirmations on my indicators. I want to see money flow coming up on the lower time frames and some bull divs on lower time frames, because we are at the highs of a pretty big impulse to the upside so far. So you really got to be careful with your risk management if you're getting into these scalp longs. And for me, I'm going to be looking at that daily at about 39.87 is a TP. If we come down to this golden pocket, bounce from this golden pocket, I will have a TP at that daily, probably 50% of the position. And then if we start to lose our prior highs, I will, or re-enter back within the volume profile, I will probably close out the rest of that long position. But if we do not hold our local golden pocket and we decide to correct all the way down and take out our range lows into that macro value area high, then my first TP would be that daily, but it would probably be only 25%, and then I would look for the rest to come up at that 45.34 area of resistance. That would be my final TP for that long position. So that's about it for Ethereum. If we do zoom out onto the daily chart, we can look at our daily support level. We do not have a new daily resistance level we have on the chart. We can mark that out real quick here because our candle closed red today. So we do have a new daily level at 38.73. We do need to be aware of that. And really no new dailies close by underneath us. Weekly levels, okay. Looking good there. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for Ethereum. Just play the range until it breaks. We are in our local scalp range that we've been in for a couple weeks, and we can just continue to trade this range. Let's move on to Solana. Now, guys, Solana has been at our bigger resistance zone, and we've talked about this zone for weeks ahead of time before coming up and entering into this zone. This is our macro value area high in confluence with that naked weekly point of control. We had a slew of resistance up here, confluence of resistance up here. And we did try to break out of that volume profile, and you can see that we have re-entered back within that volume profile. A fake breakout, a false breakout of that volume profile. And now that we've re-entered back within, you can see here, I was just doing some local TI on this. Let me get rid of some of this. All right, we have, after attempting to break out of it, we've fallen back within it, and you can see, let me hide this purple box for a second. You can see that now on a couple daily candles here, we've tried to get back above our value area high of our range, and we are not being able to break out of this value area high. Now, overall, on the daily time frame, our money flow still looks very, very bullish here. And even on NAMI again, our money flow is starting to come to the upside again. So I do think a breakout before a true breakdown into the 150s is going to happen. I do think that Solana is going to end up breaking out and continuing up to our next major resistance area. But that pullback that we are expecting, we were looking at our double 1-2 impulse being a 1-2, 1-2, our third wave here. We have now officially pulled back to our fourth wave targets, but that pullback happened so quickly that this correction might not be completely over here that we're seeing here for our fourth wave. So we might come back down and visit this general area of 175 again before continuing to break up here. But I do expect this impulse to not be finished yet, and for this impulse to complete here, pushing up into that $232 area of resistance. So let's go ahead and zoom in and look at Solana on lower time frames. You can see that we are forming a range. Now, I know a lot of pattern traders are going to be looking at this as a potential head and shoulders, which is a topping reversal pattern. And this is something that if we do lose $175, we could see this head and shoulders break down all the way down to that golden pocket that's coming in around $154. That is our next major level of support. And you can see we do have an anchored VWAP from our lows that is coming in that area. And I would be interested in looking for a long from this general area if we do break down from this head and shoulders pattern here. But if the impulse is going to play out, that double 1-2 Elliott impulse that we've been looking at for the past couple of weeks is going to play out, we generally see that three wave corrective move in a wave 4 before continuing in a 5-wave impulse in a wave 5 to finish that. And in this case, we have 2 4 5s sub degree counts within the first major degree count. And so yes, we have hit our target. Our 0.5 Fibonacci, if you guys remember my videos or my live streams from last week, we were looking at that 175.6K area of support because it was our macro 382. If we, let me just zoom out to the 4 hours so we can get a better look at this. If you pull a Fibonacci from the lows of the impulse to our current highs, our 382 Fibonacci bounced us on Thursday. Now, that 382 often acts as support or resistance in a strong trend. So we were expecting, this has been a pretty strong trend, we were expecting that we could bounce here. But another reason we were expecting to bounce there is if we pull our Fibonacci from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3, your wave 4 target generally bounces between the 382 and the 0.5. You can see that that 0.5 Fibonacci was in perfect confluence with our more macro 382. And so this is the area where we were expecting a bounce, maybe to continue the impulse up. But it happened so quickly. Our push down happened so quickly. And generally your wave 4s take a little bit longer in time than your wave 2s here, that I was looking for a potential, another range to form in here, or a bit of this correction to continue. So if we look at, we broke some prior lows, flipped market structure bearishly on lower time frames. We could look at these lows here. So we had our market structure break. Because we had our market structure break on some lower time frames, now we can look for a potential lower high to come in before creating another lower low and seeing that correction be done. So where's the most probable area to reject if you are going to look for a lower high to come in? Well, it's from your golden pocket. So if we take our Fibonacci from the highs on Tuesday to our correction lows that we saw on Thursday, and we turn on that golden pocket, this is where we did reject. We came up into our golden pocket lower high. We are rejecting, and we are starting to fall back inside your big macro value area high. So I am potentially looking at that very common 3-wave corrective move that we often see in these wave 4s before continuing that impulse up to that 232 area of resistance. And what I'm looking at so far, because we've already hit our wave 5 or our 0.5 Fibonacci target, we do not want to go too much lower, because if we hit the golden pocket from our wave 3, that will invalidate our impulse to the upside. So we do not want to hit this golden pocket that's coming in around $166 to $168. What I would like to see personally, if you want to see this impulse from the lows stay intact, from this $126 low stay intact, then we want to probably see a liquidity grab of Tuesday's lows or Thursday's lows without hitting that golden pocket, and then start to see that bigger price action to the upside. So that's why I was saying it might be reasonable that we do come down to this 175K area again, test that, maybe even grab the liquidity of last week's lows. But other than that, you really do not want to go too much deeper in a retrace. We do have a daily level. Let's go ahead and mark out this daily level that it has not been tapped yet. This daily level is coming in at 181.13. Sorry, we're not on the daily. Let's get on the daily. Okay, so we did actually tap that daily. It's coming in at 183 pretty much. And that is where we're seeing our small bounce from right now. You can see if we zoom in on the 4-hour chart, came down after rejecting from our lower high golden pocket. We're seeing a small bounce from the daily. But I would not be entirely convinced that we are going to continue to impulse up from here. So, and then if let's pull a Fibonacci from the lows on Thursday to our highs. Yeah, I guess that daily is in confluence with your golden pocket. So this is our local support zone. So we're just bouncing between golden pockets. You can see we rejected our lower high golden pocket. Now we're coming up to our higher low golden pocket. And this is how ranges start to form. You just reject from internal levels and then you start to form that sideways range that often occurs here. And so we can actually pull the volume profile of this range so far. Okay, not much there except the value area low of this range is going to be right at our range lows. And that would be a nice to see a liquidity grab into that value area low and then pump from there. But we are at local support. If we can get back above the value area high, the macro value area high at about 189.1, then I do think we might continue to push up, breaking up to our next level of resistance, which is going to be around $216, 215 to 216. But overall, I'd expect us to continue up to about that 232 area, 232 to 235. So we're at local support. If we look at the 1-hour chart, the money flow has crossed over into the red. And yes, we are holding this local support level, but we do not really see any bull divs here. And let's zoom in onto the 15-minute. Let's see if a 15-minute is finally now starting to see some bull divs. So you can see here we are seeing a bunch of lower lows in the price action. Our momentum wave is creating these higher lows, multiple drives of bull div on the 15-minute. You can also see NAMI is creating those multiple drives of bull div on the 15-minute. But we really wanted to see money flow because money flow has been coming out pretty aggressively here. We wanted to see money flow start to bottom out. And it looks like with this daily close that is happening as we speak, or 15 minutes ago, that daily candle or that 15-minute candle and 15-minute money flow is starting to round off here. And actually on NAMI, which is a bit faster on the money flow, you can see NAMI's money flow is already curving to the upside and actually about to cross over into the green. So it is possible that this golden pocket in this daily does hold and we do continue to pump. If you did take a long from this, and actually even if you're looking at it now, taking a long from here, I would look at that value area high as your first area of take profit, and then your stops would go below the lows. That's still a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, even if you entered right now as we speak. That could be a nice scalp play on Solana. I'm not convinced that it's done dumping yet, though. And if Bitcoin continues to grind down to that 116.5, we know the altcoins will continue to grind down as well. I'm not interested in taking a long here on Solana. If we do pump from here, so be it. We'll pump from there. After reclaiming the value area high, we can look for another scalp long entry to bring up to the next level then. But that's about it for Solana, guys. We're just trading here. If we do lose this 182, 183 area, then I expect to move to grab those lows from last Thursday, excuse me, at about 175.7. And then if we lose that, I would expect that move down at least to your anchored VWAP that's coming in around $164. Okay, on to Sui. Sui is at its local golden pocket as well. But you can see, guys, on Sui, and I was asked about this in the Telegram over the weekend. Sui finally came up to that level of resistance that we've been looking at for weeks on the chart. We have had this level between 441 and 445 marked out on the chart for weeks. This is our macro value area high of our large upper range in confluence with the naked weekly point of control, which is no longer naked now. I just left it on the chart to show you guys. But this naked weekly point of control that was coming in around 441.69, we're going to go ahead and delete that now because we've hit into that. But over the weekend, we were able to pump up into that area of resistance, and we are seeing a nice rejection from that area of resistance, falling back within our 14-day volume profile, our 2-week-long volume profile. And now that we are back inside this volume profile, after rejecting from a larger resistance, there is a possibility that Sui does dump a lot more, that we can dump at least to the bottom of our local range, which you can see the value area low of our local range is coming in around 374, which is in confluence with the backtest of that channel that overall has been holding as support. And then if we take a larger Fibonacci pull and we look at our 786, you can see that 786 is going to be right around that local area too. So if we lose our area of support that we're at right now, this 389 area of support, then I do expect us to move down to about 371, 372. Actually, it's like 373 to 371. And if we lose that, then we're probably going to see a much bigger drop on SUI. We'd be re-entering back within the channel after multiple weeks of attempting to break out. But the key thing now on SUI is that we finally came up and tapped our resistance. So we're seeing a nice rejection from our resistance. And we were expecting within this part of the range to continue up to that resistance based on it being our more macro resistance above us. Now that we've hit that, if we do fall back within our channel, I expect a bigger dump to happen on SUI, potentially coming down much, much further. Not only grabbing the range lows at 351.9, but potentially coming down. Let's zoom out here onto our daily chart. Yeah, coming down to that POC at 347 that we were looking at last week. And we did front run that POC last week. Now, also, if you look on both NAMI and Market Cipher B, with hitting into the macro value area high of our larger upper range, we have now confirmed daily bearish divs. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum waves here, lower highs on the momentum waves on NAMI. And you can see, at least on NAMI, the money flow is about to cross over into the red on the daily time frame. Market Cipher B, the money flow still does look pretty healthy here, and it is continuing to push to the upside. So overall, as long as we do not lose that value area low in that 786 around 371, I do expect SUI to continue to break up to its next levels, to flip this value area high into support and continue to work up, taking out the highs at, let's mark those out, at 537. But if we do fall back within this channel and we lose this, if we fall back within the channel, I expect to move down to the POC at 347. And then if we lose that, I really expect us to come down probably to this naked weekly point of control. Let's pull our golden pocket from the highs, or from the lows to the highs of this daily impulse. And yeah, that's going to be around where your golden pocket is too. Your golden pocket's a little bit higher than that. But SUI overall still looking decent as long as we're above 371. I do think SUI could continue to pump higher or continue to range within this range. But we do have our first major warning signs on SUI, being those bear divs confirmed on the daily time frame. Not yes, already confirmed on the daily time frame. And rejecting, finally coming up to our resistance and rejecting from our resistance. So that's about it for SUI, guys. Trade the range until it breaks. We're in our local range. I do think a lot of these coins are setting up for bigger moves, where we've been consolidating pretty tightly now for a couple weeks on a lot of these coins. So we could expect some bigger moves to be coming soon. Speaking real quick of money flow, you can see our money flow on the hourly has just crossed over into the red. And yes, our momentum wave is bottomed out and is starting to come to the upside, but we do not see any bull divs here. And if we zoom in onto the 15-minute chart, the same kind of bull divs are happening that are happening on Solana and on Bitcoin, and a lot of these with these multiple drives of 15-minute bull div, but the money flow still doesn't look the best. It's finally now starting to try to curve to the upside. I don't like it yet, guys. I do think that we might see a small bounce from this area before continuing at least down to 371. So be aware that we could see more droppage on some of the altcoins. That's it for SUI. Say, guys, Say is looking like it's getting a pretty big drop now. We are even attempting to lose the value area low of our range. This is our upper range that we've been in for a few weeks on Say. We did reject from that 38-cent high, which was the macro log golden pocket in confluence with the top of the band. And we are just starting to form the range around the band, like I say oftentimes with these bands. Now, we did grab on last Wednesday, we did grab the liquidity of our range lows. And so now that we've grabbed that liquidity, we are still continuing to make lower lows and lower highs in the chart on local price action here. If we lose this value area low, there's a high probability that we could continue to make lower lows. And you can see in this area, there's not much support coming in. So we could fall all the way back down to our prior range value area high. If we pull this volume profile here and we look at that value area high that is coming in around 29.56, I do think that if we start to lose the value area low of the range that we're in right now, we're at it pretty much right now I deleted the wrong thing. We're at that range value area low right now. So if we do lose our support that we're at right now, I do expect us to continue down to that 29.56 area, which would be making new range lows and continuing to push down. If we take our Fibonacci from the lows to the highs, we are at the golden pocket, which is in confluence with the value area low. This is your local support level. So this is locally, if we're going to continue to range within this upper range, we need to hold the level of support that we're at now. We need to hold this level of support and get back inside of our pitchfork band. If not, we're going to see that bigger drop to 29.56 or potentially even much lower. Let's pull a golden pocket from our last prior range lows to our range highs. Yeah, that golden pocket's where it's at, or that prior value area high at 29.56 to 29.62. Around 29.5 cents is where I'd be looking for the next support level. If we lose where we're at now, we are attempting to bounce from where we're at now. And as long as we don't lose this volume profile, we can expect not to come down and take out our range lows from last Wednesday. Zooming in on the 1 hour chart, you can see money flow is about to cross over into the red. Yes, our momentum wave is bottomed out and is trying to attempt to come to the upside. And then if we look at the 15-minute, once again, it's going to see those same kind of bull divs that we've been seeing. But your money flow just does not look the best here. It is finally now, with the daily close that just happened 24 minutes ago, attempting to come to the upside. So there is a possibility this support does hold, but to me, it just doesn't look the best on market cipher as far as our more intermediate timeframes. Now you can see on Nami is giving us these nice multiple drives of bull div here, and we actually did just print a hidden bull div to top that off, and your money flow is curving to the upside, about to cross over into the green. There is a potential this does hold, and we do see a bounce, but once again, guys, I expect maybe a bounce up to that POC, creating an overall lower high before continuing down based off of some of our larger time frame signals. I just, what I'm trying to say is I expect more of a range on some of these altcoins, more of a range and more of a dump, potential dump. Okay, that's it for SUI. Let's go into XRP. Let's zoom out onto the daily here. XRP is still in that corrective zone. We are correcting between the 382. We're looking for that correction to come in over the next month between that 382 and that 0.5, between $3 and $2.78. Now, I talked about this on the stream on Friday, on the stream on Thursday. We are looking at this correction in our wave 4. If we're looking at, this is our wave 1, this is our wave 2. Bounce from our golden pocket lower high. Our wave 3 did bring us right up to that 1.618 where we were expecting a rejection. And then our wave 4, generally you see a 3-wave corrective move, and it's generally longer in time than your wave 2. Now your wave 2, I believe, if I'm remembering right from Friday's stream, it was 41 days. And so we really need for more time to elapse within this small range, within this small correction, to kind of see that time alignment as far as our wave 4 correction. So I was looking overall for us to start to form a range in this area. And you can see that's what's happening now. If we did bounce from the 382, came up, made a lower high, and if we do start to drop to the 0.5, I would actually even like to see a range form. I would still like to continue up, pushing up a little bit more, hitting into our golden pocket before continuing down and creating that larger sideways and down range, corrective range on XRP. But overall, XRP, we are expecting a bit of some maybe very low time frame, a push up to our golden pocket, and then after that, a push down to the 0.5 around 278. Let's pull that golden pocket from the highs to our lows. Yeah, still haven't quite come up to that golden pocket yet at around 339 to 341. And that is also going to be, if we zoom in onto the hourly chart, this upper range here, that is where your upper range value area low POC is. So we can just pull this very small micro range here. You can see that value area low is coming in around that golden pocket. So if this, we also have now a bottoming range here, and I would be looking at if we can break above, if we can just hold local support here, stay within this volume profile, I do think we can continue to push up to 339 to 341, seeing that bigger overall three-wave corrective move that takes a bit longer in time. Very similar to the rest of the altcoins, money flow is about to cross over into the red on market cipher B. No bull divs on the 1 hour chart. Let's go into the 15-minute chart. 15-minute is showing those same bull divs. And now actually on XRP, money flow is starting to bottom out a little bit better than some of the other altcoins. You can see we actually have a steady curve up of a couple hours now. And so we might continue to push up. I mean, we're expecting that push to continue up at least locally to that 339 to 341. So XRP might get that push right now. We might just kind of hold this area and start to push up to that 339, 341 before seeing that bigger rotation down. Overall, XRP, we're looking for the range to continue, our corrective range sideways and down to continue. But very locally, a push up to 339 to 341 would be nice before seeing that bigger drop down to 278. Okay, lastly, let's go into Chainlink. Chainlink here, let's zoom out onto our daily. And Chainlink is coming into some local support. Now, I did post about this on Chainlink earlier today in the Telegram group, a potential scalp long opportunity that I was interested in on Chainlink. And the reason why I'm so interested on Chainlink is look at our money flow on the daily time frame on Market Cipher B. It just looks really, really bullish to me. We did also print a hidden bull div signal on the daily time frame on NAMI just a couple days ago. And so Chainlink, I am looking for it. We still have not actually come up and hit the value area high of our more macro range. We had front run it just barely. So I am still looking at us potentially coming up a little bit higher on Chainlink. Our money flow on the daily time frame does suggest higher, just range. Maybe we're going to range for a bit before continuing the trend higher. And so because of this, I've had a bigger bias to go long, look for scalp longs on Chainlink. So if we zoom in onto the 4-hour chart and we look at our upper range here, same type of head and shoulders that is forming. Let me get rid of some of this local TA. You can see that we have our potential head and shoulders range here that is forming on Chainlink as well. We are bouncing from our 382, which is our target for our wave 4, but generally you do want to see that bigger 3-wave corrective move down, and because time-wise we do want to see a little bit longer in time as well, we are rejecting from our lower high golden pocket. Let's pull that golden pocket area. It's really golden pocket 786 area. You can see we wicked up to the 786 there. Not quite, actually, between the golden pocket and 786. So we're rejecting from our general area that we would expect to reject from on a lower high. The reason we were looking for lower high is because we broke market structure bearishly. Where's that at? Market structure break. So we had our bearish market structure break by grabbing the lows of the range. So now the potential in a bearish case scenario is creating a lower high before now coming down and creating a lower low in that locally bearish corrective 3-wave move to the downside. And I will say this, I did attempt a scalp long on Chainlink earlier today. I posted about it in the Telegram group because if we pull a volume profile of this upper range and we look at, actually let me zoom in onto the 1-hour chart. Let's get this right on there. You can see that if we pull a Fibonacci from the lows of the range to our lower high that we created, our golden pocket is coming in right around the POC, and this is your general area. Now, when I talked about this long earlier, I pulled the golden pocket from this lower high, looking at this as a potential 3rd-wave corrective move, bouncing from this golden pocket, and the point of control is very, very close by. It wasn't better alignment earlier today. Point of control, golden pocket, and we were seeing some bull divs on the chart, but the stop on this long is below that anchored VWAP. So looking at longing $18 just to bring it up to the value area high, the stop was below the anchored VWAP. 6-to-1. I think it was about a 7-to-1 risk reward ratio when I posted that earlier today. I still am in that long position. I have not taken any profit. But now with the way, money flow is starting to curve up again on the hourly time frame on Chainlink. And let's go to the 15-minute where you're seeing those bullish signals confirm. And you can see here as well on Chainlink, we do have those bull divs coming in here. 1, 2, 3, 4 drives of bull div, but money flow is curving up more nicely. And on NAMI, we have the multiple drives of bull div and money flow crossing into the green here. So I'm looking for a little bit of a push up. The general first TP for this long position for me will be around this golden pocket around $18.95 to $19. If we make it up to the value area high 786, I might take a little bit more profit out there because overall I am still expecting a bigger three-wave corrective move down, potentially to that 16.5 area of support. So just a scalp position, guys, just a scalp position here. But overall, the altcoins are looking rangy and a bit dumpy. And I do think based off of our higher time frames, like if we zoom out onto the 4-hour, you can see that as this range was forming, or as this push, this impulse was kind of getting exhausted here towards the end, we were seeing those bear divs on the 4-hour. Higher highs, lower highs here, and your money flow had finally started consistently draining out here. And money flow is consistently draining out of the asset on the 4-hour as this range is forming. So we do expect potentially overall to continue to range for a bit and then see a dump down out of this range locally to local support levels below. That's about it for today, guys. I mean, not too much more to talk about. Just a bunch of rangy type price action. We are seeing a little bit of dumpage. I do think the range slash low dump, lower time frame dumpage could continue here on some of the altcoins and on Bitcoin. And we will do a live stream tomorrow, go through some of this live and try to catch some live trades tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in that, tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got anything out of this video, please like the video. Please share it with any friends or family, and I will see you tomorrow.